Hey guys, I'm Amy and you've landed on Belle Loves Bargains. That's my cow Effingham, and sometimes he co-hosts with me. He's got a lot to say. This channel is Dollar Tree and only Dollar Tree. And why? Because everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25, people. So stick around, consider subscribing, and don't forget to give me that big thumbs up. And if you want to know more about the 4 uploads I do every week, just check out the description box for more information. Enjoy! It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in the beauty wood, a beautiful day in the beauty. Could you be mine? Would you be mine? Thank you, Effingham. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood just like you. Oh, let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my bestie? Oh, Effingham, very good. You like that song? Okay, good. I do too. Yes, we are neighbors. We live in the same kitchen. I know. All right, guys, welcome to Belle's Bargains. My name is Amy. Today is Themed Thursday. Welcome to my channel. Stick around if you've never been here before. We start every video with a song, and I'm on a TV theme kick right now. So I have done some crafts for you that are very spring related, even though spring is somewhat over. Anyway, it's a super long story, which I'll get into in a minute. But today I've brought you 5 crafts, and they're all less than $5 to make. And they're really cool. So I want you to know something about this channel, though. This channel is Dollar Tree, and only Dollar Tree. And why? Because everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25, people. Yes, $1.25. All right, so I'm super excited because I really, really love these crafts. But I got to tell you a story. I did a challenge last month, and it's on the 5th of every month they do it. It's called 5 for 5. 5 for under 5, actually. So it was the first time I did it. Well, I misread the thing. I had gone to the month earlier thing, and so I made these spring crafts, which you're going to see right now. But then I was on the chat or something and realized it was supposed to be Easter crafts, so I quickly made Easter crafts for last month's challenge. Well, I thought I would hold on to these and use them for next month's challenge, but May 5th's challenge is fruity tier tray, so these aren't going to work. So I was like, forget it. I gotta clean my glass, sorry. I'm just gonna use them on my Thursday video because they're really good. And I've already made them, right? So without further ado, let me show you the things that I made for this challenge that are now just on my themed Thursday. I know I said I was gonna do movie theme. I do have a movie theme thing, and I will probably do that next week. So, okay, yeah. Nope, it's not a movie about cows, Effingham, I'm sorry. Nope. Can't think of one. Can anybody think of a movie that has cows in it? I mean, like, cow as the main character. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So let me also tell you, if you want to know more about this channel, I do 4 uploads every week, and down in the description below, you can read about that. And I'm getting close, you guys. I'm over 1,600 subscribers now. It has been blowing up like crazy. When I get to 2,500, I am giving away a gnome-tastic basket full of gnomes. So before I show you the crafts, though, I do want to say really quickly thank you to Rita, who sent me an Easter card. I know I'm really late in showing this, and she sent me this beautiful patch, and I am excited because I'm going to use some patches on a DT Threads. I make Dollar Tree clothes called DT Threads. On Tuesday, I made the cutest little girl shirt for a birthday party, and I've got a couple videos that are linked on that one. So if you're interested at all, go back and look at those. Also, one more question. I don't know what happened. I was going to send somebody some of the checked bunnies. Can't remember who it was, and I tried so hard to go back and look through all my messages. So whoever you are, Message me again on Facebook Messenger. I'm like, I'm lost. I couldn't remember if it was Christy from Crafty Country. I don't think it was Maxine from Maxine Loves Crafts. I don't think it was Amy from Bargain Mama. And those are the three that I probably talked the most to. I don't know who it was. I can't remember. Oh, and I'm so upset. So whoever it was, please message me. I will get those out to you. I know it's late, but I don't know. I'm working a full-time job. I'm still trying to keep up with YouTube. A few things slip through the cracks, but I don't want this to slip through the cracks. If you guys watch, I know some of you watch Frugal J. She's so funny. She does Dollar Tree hauls. She does other store hauls too. And Frugal J has had a rough, I'm going to say over a month now. Her son had an accident and it's very serious. Anyway, if you know who Frugal J is, please stop for a moment, give a quick prayer upstairs for a return to health for her son and full recovery. I love you, Jay. I think you're absolutely hysterical, and I know life is rough right now, but there's so many of us out there thinking about you. So hugs and kisses and prayers. So if you know Frugal Jay, go visit her channel. I'm going to link it down below. And I know that she has a GoFundMe because this is financially very devastating. So anyway, go over, check out her channel and send some prayers up to the Lord for some full recovery for her son and for strength for her as a mama going through this. All right, let's get into what I made for you today. Serious side is now over, right? Effingham. You didn't know I had feelings? Really? I mean, okay, that's not fair. I rub your snout all the time and I tell you how handsome or pretty you are because we're not sure if Effingham's a boy or a girl. Anyway, so I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm so nice to you and so good to you and take very good care of you. I feed you. Wait, you don't eat. I give you water. You don't drink either. I dust you. And I change your hats and outfits and stuff. Okay, so spring. This was what I did for last month's challenge, which I'm now showing you, and I'm so happy with this. So this all started out because I found a glass that said, "Spring makes me smile," and it was a clear, this is it, it's clear glass. And I was like, it's so pretty, I want to make it something other than a glass. I don't need any glassware, but I just thought it was super pretty. So you'll see in the video, I take yellow tissue paper, I Mod Podge it on the inside, and I make it a votive. You can't really see that it's a votive right now. Here's the problem. I only had the multicolored changing votives. It just needs a regular votive in there that's white, but that's okay. For now, in the video you can see. But I love this, and this started me down a path. So the colors on this, of course, there's that teal and then the yellow and the orange is so very bright spring colors. So I was like, we're going for spring. I'm gonna make a whole like little spring series thing. So this total cost on this was, well, it was $1.25 for the glass, $1.25 for the votive and the rocks, because it's one of those ones that has the rocks with it. I think you know what I'm talking about. So it's $2.50 in the tissue paper and the Mod Podge. This is like, you know, let's say $3 total. Less than that, really. But, and I loved it. So it started me down the path. So I then made the next thing, and it was from the calendar, which I don't know which calendar this is, you guys, because I've ripped it all apart at this point, but it's the one, the back of it looks like this. So I don't know if it's the farmhouse or it's because I don't have the cover anymore either. But anyway, in here was a picture that said spring is in the air with the right colors. So I took that and made my next craft, which is this. Now, I want you guys to, can you see that basket? It's three-dimensional with the flowers on it. All right, so this is what I did. First of all, this is a little stand, so $1.25 on the stand. I thought that was cute to put it on an easel as opposed to hanging it on the wall. Then the frame, which had a print in it, so $1.25 on the frame. Now we're at $2.50. All I did was, and then there's the print that went inside, which is pennies, because the calendar was $1.25, but I only used one. But even, let's say you had to buy it for the whole calendar. We're now at $3.75. Then this, and you'll see in the video, I took popsicle sticks, I made the shape of the basket, and I weaved the basket with jute twine, put some florals in there and a little bow, and three-dimensionalized this print, which is super adorable. Also in the video, you'll see I take furniture marker and just sort of weather the frame up a little bit just to match like that, the faux wood in the background, aged wood. Okay, love this. Love how this came out. Absolutely adorable. And of course, we're matching, right? we're really matching that ring light is absurd. We're matching our colors and our theme, spring. Then I was like, okay, I was looking to make 5 things. So I grabbed a bucket and a coloring book, and I found a page that had these bicycles all over it. I Mod Podged the bicycles all over. This is a sticker. I'm gonna do this right now though, because I want you guys to know, I don't like the sticker. I left it on just to show you I don't like it. I'm removing it right now. I think this is way better without the sticker. It's a cute sticker, but it's super hard to keep it to stick on there. And I was like, I like it better without. So you could put the sticker on if you want, or you can take it off, doesn't matter. So this is, now I'm gonna waste that sticker. So cute. I just Mod Podged on this coloring book page. It had the bicycles all over it. I threw some styrofoam in it. I cut 1 sprig up and put the plants in there, and the yellow bow, the yellow bow, so that we were keeping the, no, I'm not trying to sound like you. Bow, moo, that would be boo. That'd be boo. I said bow. All right, so I put the yellow bow again. I'm in a hurry. That's what's wrong. I got to go to work. Okay. So now, again, we're keeping that theme, right? So I've tied it with the yellow. And then, of course, I have the bicycle on this. So cute, right? Well, I still need 2 more things because I was going for that 5 number, 5 for under 5. So then I was like, I'm making a tray. I'm going to make a tray. Well, I had these napkins that say, it's all about the journey. What's on there? A bicycle with spring flowers, much like the calendar piece. Okay, so I was like, it's gonna work perfect. So then I take, this one took a lot of time. I took 2, check out my tray. Booyah! I took 2 wood puzzles, and you'll see in the video. I glue the pieces into the wood puzzle. Oh my gosh, it's so tedious. And I used shoe polish, the white shoe polish, to paint these boards a white. I used that white shoe polish. Then, even on the bottom of this one. Then the inside of this is the alphabet board one. And you'll see in the video, I glue those all down. I fill it with, what do you call that stuff? Yeah, the stuff you use on walls, filler. Fill that in, sand it down, and then continue to paint it. I even sand it some to get some of the color off, because all I want to do is to look in here and not see the bright colors of the alphabet one. So I don't, but I should have flipped it. I should have used the animal one, which had far less going on it. But it was a white background on the alphabet one, so I thought that was going to be better. Not. If you do it, flip it the other way. So, okay, I digress. Then I fussy cut out a bunch of the bicycles, Mod Podge them on this. I use beads, you're gonna see all this, and I measure where my distance on my beads is. Now here's the thing, I didn't fill it in with beads. Why? Because I was looking to do this for under $5. So I took the Easter bead strands that I have, and I took them apart. I used total of 1 strand, but different colors from different ones. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't go over 1 strand's worth. So that's why it's not completely filled in, although I think it looks totally fine. All right, so I did that. And then I want you to notice in the video, I put little feetsies on it. I put a handle on here, right? I do a handle, and I do not use a drill. Because I was like, I'm going to show you guys, you can do this without having power tools. So what I do is I measure where my holes are going to be to put my string through for my handle. And first I tap a nail in it and take the nail out. Then I screw a screw into it, because all I'm trying to do is make that hole bigger and bigger, get it all the way through, get it a little bit bigger. Then I take another screwdriver a little bit bigger and just work it around in there. It works perfect. You don't have to have a drill to get those holes, especially into softwood like this. Okay, so this is where it got difficult, because what I had to do was I did my this is cotton twine, and this is pretty taut in here, you guys. I did a very good job of that. I knot it, I push it through, which takes some getting. Then I push it through here, put a bead on, and I have to glue this on. So I have to glue this on before I put it back through, because otherwise I wasn't going to be able to glue it on. You'll see in the video. But I do slow down and show you how I did this. This is a loop braid. That's what I call it. So you loop and then pull through, loop, pull through. It's a loop braid, and I just wanted to pop that yellow because I was trying to match everything, right? So let's go back to the beginning piece. So we see where we're going. It's all good. And we've got another bicycle, right? All these colors are really matching. And then, of course, our little plant. So now I have 4 things. We've got them all matching pretty good. One more thing, because I was going for 5, right? So I took a house. And when I used these napkins, I didn't use this part. So I had a bunch of the florals left over, which, of course, match. It's all part of this napkin. So I took all those florals that were left over and I made this. Yeah, cute, right? Okay, but you're gonna see the video. I make this, I Mod Podge all the florals on there and then I add a roof and I frame this out. I don't like it, so I take it apart and just go to this. But I show you, because I want you guys to see that the creation process, oftentimes, it goes in different directions. So I put not that it looked bad with the roof and the frame around it, it just kind of tchotchked, I don't know. I was just like, I don't like it. So I took it had too much going on. So I took it all off. And then of course I used the beads and jute twine, because now what are we doing? We're matching everything. Look at this with the tray. It's like, I can't tilt this. Hold on. Let's do this right. Let's do it right. So look, because these are the leftover florals from that napkin. Don't you love it? And there we go. We've got a bicycle again. So bicycle, the bright yellows, the florals, bicycle, and the bright florals. So they all went together. It looked really cute. I hope you enjoy watching how I made these. I'm going to tell you the truth. This was very time consuming, but so worth it. This is such a cute tray. I absolutely love this. It's going outside in my outside stuff for using for serving, you know, whatever. Anyway, I hope you guys like it. I hope you like it. Do you guys like those? And all that. And I made it for a challenge I didn't get to use it for. That's okay. I'm probably going to do the challenge this month, which is the fruit tier trade. Okay, I got to run. Tell me which one was your favorite. It's kind of there's some of them that take a little bit longer. I do slow it down in a few places just so you can see like how I slowed down the video to show you how I did the weaving on this, which how cool is that? I'm going to be doing more of this in something because I absolutely love it. And I slowed down to show you how I was doing the handle on the tray for the loop. It's almost macrame-ish. It's super easy though. And after I looped it, I just knot and put the other bead through. Anyway, just as simple. I didn't have anything that would be handles, so I made my own. And all for very cheap. I didn't talk about the price of this, right? So it was 1, 2, 3 with the beads, which takes us to $3.75 and at least $1.25 in other things. I didn't use all of the napkins. Look, I still have a ton of napkins left. And because each napkin had like, was it 4 or 6 bicycles on it? Because when you opened it up, you had multiple bicycles. So yeah, this was definitely under $5. Can you believe that? And then of course, the last thing I made, obviously this was under $5. The house was $1.25. The napkins were left over from the previous craft. And this little thing was part of the calendar craft, if we included that price in the first one. And then, of course, the baker's twine and the leftover beads. Yeah. Okay. That's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, great week, a great life. In Effingham, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Thank you, Effingham. Everybody, from your singing crafty crafter, happy hunting at your local Dollar Tree. Don't forget to come back and see me on Saturday. Huge, and I mean huge, nautical haul. You will not want to miss it. So make sure you set that up to watch on Saturday. I think I might do it as a premiere. I would love to do it as a live. My internet is not strong enough to do lives. All right, enjoy the rest of the video watching how I made these. Don't forget, tell me which one was your favorite. Hope you all had something to good drink today while you were watching me. And I will see you back here on Saturday for that huge nautical haul. Goodbye, besties. Thanks. number one of my 5 for under 5. They have these glasses. I actually really like these glasses. This one says spring makes me smile. So I'm gonna make it a votive holder. I'm gonna take some tissue paper, Mod Podge, and then a votive, battery operated votive. When we're all done, super easy, super cute. This is so easy. Take the yellow tissue paper, I just rip it into strips just because they're easier to deal with. Sorry, I'm kind of out of frame here, but all I'm doing is putting Mod Podge down and putting the tissue paper down and Mod Podging over it, and you'll notice I'm just letting it hang off the top or the rim of the glass because I can get that off later. This was so easy. This really was very easy. The only thing is that the tissue paper sort of overlaps, and then you'll see that when you have a lit votive behind it. But, I mean, that's totally fine. The other thing you could do is just paint it with acrylic paint. And then that's my trusty diamond nail file, just to go around the top of it to scrape off the extra tissue paper. And that's it. This project is done. Throw your votive in there, your battery operated votive, of course. And voila, you have taken this little tumbler glass and made it a votive holder. Okay, so I have this frame, and it's got a cute little picture in it, but I really just want the frame. And I have an easel, which is a different way of using a sign, because I can set it on the easel. And then this spring is in the air calendar page. And so I'm going to put it in this frame. It's from the farmhouse calendar this year. And let's see if I can hold it without. So there we go. And then I'm going to decorate it with some, I don't know, maybe some ribbon or some baker's twine, something. And maybe a floral or two, I'm not sure. We will just wait and see. This one was a little more involved, but it came out so cool. Obviously, I'm just going to remove the current print that's in there. And then I use the glass as a way to decide where to cut that calendar page, because I can visually see what it's going to look like once it's in the frame. And so I just use my scissors and just follow along and poof, and then I stuck it in the frame. And then this is my sanding block. I started to do that, and then I was like, oh no, I'm just going to do the furniture marker on it and then sand it off, sort of roughing it up a little bit and giving it a weathered look. And I just went all around the picture frame doing that. It worked perfect, just the slightest little weathered look to it. And then I opened it back up and I took a piece of the leftover calendar page that I'd cut off of that print and just took a little square back there to cover up the hole. Look at that. It's the same color. Then I pull out all the ribbons, and at first I was like, maybe I'll put a big bow on this, maybe I'll, put some cotton twine on the frame, and in the end, I was like, nope, I'm going to 3-dimensionalize that basket of flowers. So this is a little bit more difficult, but I think I love how this came out. So basically what I do is I build a base for weaving a basket on using a popsicle stick, and you can pretty much see the process that I did there. I cut it, it's at an angle, and then put my middle piece in and cut that out, and then basically just use some glue to sort of hold it all together, because it really is just a base. It's not really going to be seen. It's just something steady to put that weave on. Then I just cut 1,000 pieces of string, making sure that it was long enough to go over on either side. So just see that 2 sides where I put the string, just glued them on. Then I took a furniture marker just to cover the basket, any parts that you would see through the weave. And a little bit here, I slow it down just to show you, but this is really just over, under, over, under, over, under. And then I would go to the back side, cut it in glue, over, under, over, under, over, under. A little tedious, but the end result is so cool. I really love how this came out, and it's so unsuspecting being on top of the picture frame of the picture like that on the glass. Okay, so here I just real close up, right? Just under, over, under, over, under, over. It's even more tedious talking about it. Like under, but you can see it gets, you just got to be really careful to keep your strings in order, and then just careful of the over, under, over, under, over, under. Even if you made a mistake, it wouldn't be hugely obvious because this is a pretty small weave. But anyway, like actually I think right there I went over 2 instead of I did. There's a mistake right there, but who could tell? And then just cut it off and then glued it down. So simple. And then I just continue that process all the way till we got to the top of it. And when we got to the top of it, you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to show you what I did. Now, I did think afterwards, another way to do this is you could use burlap ribbon, because burlap ribbon would give you a nice effect for a basket as well. I did not do that. I really wanted the weave, but if you wanted to take a shortcut, you could use burlap ribbon. So there's that option. This is where I realized I made a mistake. So I went under, then I went over, I corrected it, and it left. Anyway, so I did correct it. It didn't matter. I didn't go back and undo the mistake because it's not that big a deal. So, but again, you could use a burlap ribbon, or even if you wanted to like use one of the hats that they sell at the Dollar Tree and just put a few rows together, it would have the same basic effect. So I was just really careful to keep pushing down my weave so as to make sure that it stayed nice and taut, because of course I knew how far up I was going to weave because I'd already glued my pieces all along the side and the bottom, which then, you know, I knew when I was going to be done. So now I'm getting down to that last piece. And after I did the weaving of the very last piece of jute twine, then all I did was take those top ones and sort of just folded them over like that, and I one at a time so as that they wouldn't bunch up. And I knew that the top of this wasn't really going to show too much because I was going to put florals. But look at that. Oh, it's so cute. And then I did not glue down my basket yet. I started building my florals first. I wanted to get a really good idea of how I was going to build it. And I'm going to give you guys a little trick. After I built it, I actually took my phone and took a picture. And then so I could just rebuild it. And I knew exactly what I was going for. So that's a really good clue. You can build your florals, and before you glue it down, take a picture so you can copy exactly what you did. I also had the advantage of this was sort of a pattern I was following on the glass behind me. Anyway, I love how this came out. I hope you guys really like this too. I just think it's super cute little effect to build something on top of the glass and three-dimensionalize that print that you have in there. And the final little touch, of course, which wasn't on the picture, was to add this little bow. And I chose to use a teal bow, and I just think it came out super sweet. Just a nice little touch on this project. Anyway, I love this one. I hope you guys do as well. Take this bucket and Mod Podge with all of these bicycles. I think I'm going to put spring on it and a plant in it. I don't really show you, but this is a page from a coloring book. And I found it, and it was the bicycles, and I thought that was absolutely perfect. So the spring sticker, I, of course, don't end up using. It just didn't quite look right. But you could put anything, any number of things on here. Or in the end, like I did earlier, I just ripped the bicycle off and I liked it that way. Okay, so this is fairly simple, but I want you to notice what happens is the size of these buckets is perfect for an 8.5 by 11 page, but you're always going to end up with one little area that's like almost like a triangle shape that doesn't get coverage, and so you have to be ready to take another piece and finish it off, and you'll see that right here.
which is fairly easy, especially with a pattern like this where it was just black and white. Nobody's going to notice that I've Mod Podged in this other little thing. And I just cut around the handle parts there and then let it hang off on the bottom and the top, because as you'll see, I go through with my X-Acto knife and just sort of start cutting off the extra pieces while it was wet. And the reason for that was because I didn't want to wait till it was dry, because I would leave residue on the rim of it, and so this way I could push it in and really get sort of a clean cut. So if it crinkled up a little bit, I just used my knife and sort of pushed it back down. This did work very well. I love how this bucket came out. I think I'm going to do some more projects sort of using the black and white coloring pages. It's just very cool. So sort of unconventional. I should do something like that for the unconventional challenge. Alright, and then after I get that all cleaned up, I just leave it to dry and then stick some florals in it. And I think I've told you guys this before, I keep styrofoam. Just if I get something in the mail and it has styrofoam in it, I just have a stash where I keep it, because it works so well for gluing into something like this and then putting your picks inside of it, as opposed to spending money on greenery foam at the Dollar Tree. So now I'm just trimming off the bottom of it as well and giving it that nice clean line, and voila, it looks so cute. So again, after I did all this, I did let it dry and then finished it up.
Okay, I am going to make a tray using these two Dollar Tree puzzle boards, right? So, but before I can do that, I need to glue them all together. I'd use two the same if I had two the same, but I don't, because this one takes a lot less gluing than the alphabet one does, but that's okay. So all I'm going to do is take some of the Crafter Square wood glue, and well, now it doesn't even come out. And I'm just going to glue in all the pieces. I have to figure out where they go first, right? So I'm just going to glue them all in. Pretty simple, and then let them dry. So we'll do that, and then we will get to making our tray. And the reason I'm gluing these in is just to give it more stability, like thicker. So, all right, that's it. And then we're gonna start making a tray. We're gonna put them on, like, you know, top of one another and make a really cool tray. I need a lot more glue probably. Alrighty, so I'll do all that and then we'll come back after they're dry.
This one takes a little bit more work. I have 2 of those Easter garlands here, and I open them both up so that I can steal basically half the beads off of them, because I want the blue from the one and I want the white and the yellow from the other. And those are the colors that I'm pulling in from the pattern on the napkin. So this is white shoe polish, which I've told you guys before, I love this stuff. Now the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to Mod Podge on top of this, so I wanted a white base. And then also on all the sides, I wanted it to be white, and this white shoe polish almost gives it a whitewash effect. So I do the bottom of both of these puzzles and the sides, of course. Then I have to go, because the bottom of this puzzle becomes the bottom of the tray, actually. So I just paint it up, put the shoe polish on the sides, and then start to shoe polish this, but then I realize that's not going to cover it, really. So I get a sandpaper and I start sandpapering off all the color on the sides, mostly because that's where I figure you're going to see it when I put the top on this tray. And then after I did that, I just started to, I was thinking I could just paint it, but then I realized I really have some gaps in here from the letters. So I go get filler and I just sort of smushed that all into it just to give me more of a flat surface, because I didn't want that to be seen, or even a shadow underneath the gap between the 2 trays. So I said this earlier, in hindsight I should have used the one with far less puzzle pieces for the bottom piece. I don't know what it was, just because this one had white, so I thought that was going to be a better base. Okay, anyway, after I do this, I just scrape it off. I'm not super careful about it, like getting it flat, because it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to go in and start spacing for my handles here. And so I'm using my diamond nail file for my how far in I want the handles to be. So this is where I did it. I just took a nail, I tapped them into those spots. I put a piece of wood underneath it. Then I screwed in a screw, and that was to widen the hole even more. And then after that, I put a screwdriver through it to get it even wider when I was putting the strings through it for the handles. Anyway, this is a way to do this without using any power tools, and it worked amazing. So now back to the, and by the way, see, I'm going through both pieces of wood there because I put them together, and so I could see how far, I could see where the hole was supposed to be by putting that nail through the top one into the bottom one. Again, this was a way to do it without using any power tools. So it did, it worked phenomenal. And I got holes through both of my pieces, my wood pieces, for where my handles were going to go. So now I can finish up the tray. I wanted to have those holes in there before I started doing things so that I wouldn't mess anything up after, like I Mod Podged, or I wasn't going to be able to do that after putting beads on it for the middle layer, so on and so forth. So that's why it was important to do that step right then. Okay, so now, see that? I'm taking another screwdriver and just making those holes a little bit bigger. It works perfect. There we go. I've got holes for my handles. So now I take the napkins. Look at that. See, there's six bicycles on each one. It took a little time. I think I sat down and started watching a movie, and Fussy cut a bunch of these out, and they are 2-ply. So I cut them while it was still in the 2-ply, and then separated them so it was just super thin for Mod Podging. I cut them all out, lay them all over, and now the Mod Podge begins. So I just plopped a bunch of Mod Podge on top of each one, and then water. I squirted them with water to help soak it into the thing and make it lay down flatter with the Mod Podge. So again, this is a little time consuming, obviously. And after I get that all on, I then fill in a couple of those little gaps there, right there where obviously it needs something else. And when I did this, I did just let this dry with stuff hanging off the edge of it, because again, I'm going to come back and sand it to get those pieces off. That one right there in the middle, of course, I ripped the basket. I had to play with that a little bit to get it where I wanted, and I would use my X-Acto knife to get things up and fix them when they were messed up. So anyway, but it came out perfect. I love this piece. I think it's super cute. So just a lot of time-consuming Mod Podging and trying to make sure that you get your pieces flat and you're not wrinkling them all up. Because remember, this is just 1 ply of napkin, because I've removed the 2nd ply. And then after I get this down, I have 1 bicycle sitting there, so I take that and fill in my little gap up on top there and cut a piece off of it to fill in the other gap on the side. Which you're going to see me do here really quickly right there. And I just cut some of it off and then used it on the other part right there. There we go. And then I let that dry so that I can work with it and obviously not be messy. By the way, I did squirt water on it one more time there and just sort of was working through some of the wrinkles with my brush there. Yeah, it looks really good. Now I'm going to start putting my corners down and building my in-between layer of beads. So I used my corner, and this worked perfectly because I got my corners all in the same spot, right? Now I'm going to measure and mark where I'm going to put how I'm going to do my pattern, because I wasn't putting beads continuously all the way around. I had a pattern because I was trying to stay within a certain dollar amount, so I only had a certain amount of beads to use. So I came up with a pattern, and it worked out perfectly. So I would do a white and then a yellow and a turquoise on either side of it, and then dead center in the sides there I was doing the same thing. And then I didn't have to measure after that because I had my white beads there, so it was pretty easy just to place it next to it and visually check out my spacing, which is what I did. Now I'm just hot gluing, which worked phenomenal, partially because I have so many, right? So it wasn't like the hot glue was holding everything together with one bead. There was a lot of hot glue points on this when I put the top on it. So just continue around to finish up my bead pattern. I loved how that looked. Now I'm going to do my handles. I take 4 lengths. 3. Oh, it is 4. I don't know. Can you count here? I think it's 3. 2. Nope, it's 4. 4 lengths of the cotton twine. And then I knot it and I push it through. So you'll notice I had to push it through like 1 thread at a time to get it through that hole. Then I go do the same thing on the other side. So I've got my handles started on both sides. And this was important because I've got to get this through the top and then get the top glued on and somehow feed my handle back through both layers of this tray. So get the bottom in. Now I've got to get the top on it. So I go back and sand off all of the hanging off paper, napkin, and bicycle stuff from my Mod Podging. Again, using my diamond nail file. And now this is the tricky part because I'm going to make sure my holes are really good for pulling those strings through. And now to get the strings through, I'm using a screwdriver and I sort of push them through one at a time. Now I'm using a paintbrush. And I've got one through, right? And now I'm going to put my bead on. Now this is really important. The reason I needed that bead is because when I push down, that's going to tell me, it's going to make it taut for me when I go to do this, put the layer on and start the handle. Okay, so I pop my hot glue on everywhere, get it lined up, and I push down with that bead, and we now have glued our top on. So now I just start my macrame loop knot. What did I call it before? My loop knot? Anyway, it's super easy, and I slow down here just to show you up close what it looks like so you can do it. But there's so many other things you could do. You could actually put a handle on here. I just didn't have any. So watch, loop, pull through, and then you tighten. And then you put a loop through the loop again, and then you tighten it. See that? And then to end it, when I end it, I just pulled it all the way through. So there's a loop, pull through, loop, pull through. And then I'm just going to put it through and then just pull it. And I just wanted to make sure it was tight, so I pulled the one side to tighten it. And now I've sort of knotted it at the end there. See that? Now I'm going to put another bead through. And I had tape on the end of my strings when I pushed it through the bead, which you can't see, and I'm sorry about that. So I push all 4 of those cotton twine pieces through another white bead, and then I have to push it through the top and the bottom, and I have to do it very carefully because now I've glued my top to my bottom. So it was a little hard, but I got it through there. So there we go. See, I put tape on it. I'm stringing it through the bead, and I'm so sorry I'm out of frame, you guys. I'm so sorry, but you get the idea. And there I have it. Now, because I have tape on the end of my string here, I'm gonna sort of just push that through very carefully. I guess I don't show you, but I did. I just had to push it through carefully. And then I put one final layer of Mod Podge on this tray, and she is done. You guys, this one was hard, but it's so worth it. It's a very pretty piece. I'm absolutely in love with it. I hope you guys like it as well. That's my less than $5 tray. Let's move on. I don't even talk about what I'm using here. I'm going to tell you now. This is a wooden house, right? And I, again, notice I'm using that white shoe polish just to give it a whitewash base underneath, because I'm going to use napkin to go over the, to Mod Podge over this. And I was just thinking that lightening up the background that I Mod Podge would be helpful for the colors on these, on the florals from the napkin. So, as I said, I had all these leftover florals from where I had cut out the bicycles, and so I just ripped all my edges so I wouldn't have any like straight edges. I ended up with these strips of the florals. So I started Mod Podging, and there was no rhyme or reason for how I placed these, just FYI. I started ripping them and just placing, and I like this effect. I've used it before when I Mod Podge, where I just rip pieces and put it on there. It's like paper mache almost. Very similar technique. And I just make sure that I cover up all of my areas, Mod Podge everything, cover up all my areas with my floral napkin pieces, and it just ends up with this really pretty piece that of course complements the tray, which was phenomenal because it was the other part of the napkins. It didn't have the bicycle on it. Alright, so then after I did this, I was looking at it and I wanted to, because of the colors in it, I was like, ooh, I kind of wanted to pull in maybe that turquoise color because of what was on the bicycle print. And anyway, so I thought that putting a roof on this would be really cute. As you can see, after it dried, I sanded off everything on the bottom. So I got the colored popsicle sticks and I started to put a roof on it, which I do. I actually put a roof on this thing and glued it on and everything, cut everything, blah, blah, blah. But here's what happened. I got the roof on there, and then I was like, I don't know, I think I need to fill in the roof. Like when I put the piece across, I should have just left the roof right here, because that was almost cute. Watch, can you see it? Do I show it? Like just the roof on top was kind of cute. I should have left that, but I didn't. Of course I didn't. Then I started coloring in where we could see pieces, and I should have left it like that, because that's kind of cute. But I didn't. So then I get my little piece from the back of the calendar that has the bicycle, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put that on there. Then I put that piece. It's also kind of cute that way. Then I decide I'm going to trim out the little sign. And then I decide that not only should I trim out the little sign, but I need to fill in the roof on this house. Okay. All of which were mistakes. And I don't like how that ends up. But just the roof on it wasn't too bad, and I probably should have just left that. But because I went too far, I ended up ripping the whole thing off and just going with the way simpler way, which I ended up liking better. But I left this in to show you guys that sometimes when we create, we take a left turn and then go, wow, that was the wrong way. And we have to turn around. We have to retrace our steps, which is exactly what I did with this one. And here again, I'm like, okay, but now I think I need to fill in that roof. Here's what I put. I mean, I went to a lot of trouble on this only to rip it all off. But that's okay. Like I said, you guys can see what it was. You can see the process that I made it. Maybe you'll like that better, and so if you copy this, you'll do that. You can certainly do these little houses doing something else too. It doesn't have to be for this particular project. This is a cute little thing to do with any of these little houses. And the popsicle sticks do make amazing roofs. So anyway, I get it all on there, I finish all off, and I rip it all off, and then I end up taking jute twine and some beads and finishing it off that way. So in the end, I like it much better. You guys let me know what you think. Did you like it with all the popsicle sticks on it, like we're going to see here when it's all done? Or do you like it better when I cleaned it all off and just put some cotton twine and some beads on it? You tell me. I went to a lot of trouble. And then I just rip it off. I'm not even sure I show you guys like the completed whatever. I think I was so disgusted with it, I just ripped it off. But there it is pretty much. That's it. All done. Yeah, which one do you like better? Whoop, there it is. It's all gone. But this is super easy. It's a cleaner look, and I like it better. So tell me which one you like better, and tell me which project you like best. I really love doing these. I thought they were fun. I hope you guys did too. I'm sorry I didn't get to do it for the 5 for under 5, but lesson learned. I think we need to be more careful when I'm reading these challenge things. It's still fun to do. I'm really glad I did these. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys back here on Saturday for that huge, huge nautical haul. Bye, besties.